Israel conducted new strikes on central and southern Gaza. This follows Israeli officials saying Hamas launched several projectiles from northern Gaza into southern Israel overnight. And in the north, Hezbollah is ratcheting up its attacks, firing dozens more rockets across the border from Lebanon into northern Israel. CBS News has learned that U.S. officials are growing increasingly concerned that the Israeli military will start a war with the Iranian-backed militant group, that it will not be able to finish without U.S. support. Also overnight, the U.S. military says it destroyed several Iranian-backed Houthi targets in the Red Sea. It came hours after a Houthi missile attack struck a commercial ship in the Gulf of Aden, causing injuries to a crew member on board. CBS News national security correspondent David Martin with us from the Pentagon. So, David, what information can you tell us about the pier off the coast of Gaza?
Well, it's one more complication in the attempt to deliver enough humanitarian aid to help the people of Gaza. As we speak, the pier is once again being dismantled to get it out of the way of some bad weather that is rolling into the eastern Mediterranean. That means the pier will have to be taken back into port in Israel and there ride out the bad weather, and it is not expected to be back in place, lodged in the into the beach at Gaza until the middle of next week. Now, weather was always going to be a factor in the operation of this pier, but everybody was counting on the better weather of summer months, allowing them to operate the pier about 27 days out of every month. So the weather is just not cooperating here, because this is the third time that deliveries have had to be suspended. Now, these deliveries were never going to solve the problem. They were meant to be a supplement to the main delivery channel, which would have been trucks coming in through the various crossings between Israel and Gaza. In the last 2 days before it started, before the military started dismantling the pier, they had delivered about 500 tons a day. But what's being delivered onto the shore is not yet being distributed to the people who need it, because the UN's World Food Program had suspended its distribution operations because of the danger in the area that really was an aftermath of the Israeli rescue mission of those hostages.
And David, you also have new reporting on concerns from U.S. officials about what's happening north of Israel with Hezbollah in Lebanon. What can you tell us?
Well, this has been simmering really since the beginning of the war between Israel and Hamas. Hezbollah has been shelling positions in northern Israel, and Israel has been responding in a tit-for-tat fashion, sending shells back over the border into Lebanon at Hezbollah targets. But in the past couple weeks, this has really begun to escalate. Israel has started conducting deeper strikes, and just this week it killed a very senior Hezbollah commander, and Hezbollah is predictably responding to that by increasing the rocket barrages that are going into Israel. So this confrontation just continues to build, and Hezbollah is a much more formidable force than Hamas. And if this were to become an all-out war between Israel and Hezbollah, it would almost certainly require enormous American support, and would obviously bring the possibility that Hezbollah's main backer, Iran, could choose to enter the fray. So this is a very concerning situation, and there are now reports that President Biden is sending one of his top Middle East negotiators to Israel to be there on Monday to try to find a diplomatic solution to this building confrontation.
I was going to ask you, is there some sort of de-escalation? But it sounds like they're hoping diplomacy may prevent what could become another full-blown war.
But there are some huge obstacles here because there is enormous pressure on the Israeli government to do something about these rocket attacks from Hezbollah, because large numbers of Israeli citizens have been forced to evacuate the northern border area. They want to go home. And up until now, everybody has sort of been counting on the fact that neither Israel nor Hezbollah really wants a war, but not wanting a war is not necessarily something that prevents it. And the last couple weeks of building confrontation has really gotten people worried. And remember, at the very beginning of this whole war between Israel and Hamas, the U.S. sent an aircraft carrier to be off the coast of Israel just for the contingency that Hezbollah would enter into the war. There's no aircraft carrier there now.
David Martin, thank you so much.
Sure thing.